Hi everyone, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you're joining us from. Welcome to the Fired Up Movement. This our event that we have every other Thursday to help you to understand how you can live in the right way and you can be financially stable, how you can be able to stop struggling financially. Because from the person that initiated this thing, she actually made us to understand that many people earn money, they make a whole lot of things, but they are not living. Many people are just surviving, they are just trying. Only few people thrive. But what we do here every Thursday is to make sure that we teach you, we give you many strategies in order to be able to live rightly and be able to do the best for yourself and for your family. My name is Tobiloba Family, and I'm going to be your host today. But today I have the convener of this event, which is Lady Lola, who is going to be part of this show today. And we are having another amazing guest speaker who's going to be here with us today. His name is Victor. And Victor is a lead engineer in big tech and founder of Mentor Hub. And he's a career coach, he is a career coach and a trainer, you know. Yes, he has spent over a decade building scalable systems and leading engineering teams while simultaneously investing in the next generation of professionals. Through Mentor Hub, is on a mission to close the access gap, connecting ambitious talent with the guidance, skills, and opportunities they need to thrive. Victor believes mentorship isn't a nice to have, it's a career accelerator. It is a career accelerator. Please welcome with me to the stage Olusegun Bonafide, popularly known as Victor, as the way that given to us. Please welcome. How are you doing today, Victor?
I'm doing okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Yes,
morning.
Lady Lala, over to you, please.
All right, everybody, can you hear me okay? Good morning, good afternoon. This is really a beautiful day here. Oh, we're grateful, to be seen and, of course, to be alive and to be on this program again today. All glory to God. All right, so I have here Bolof. I call him Mr. Shegun. You can call him Bolof. His name is Mr. Shegun. Here is my one of my very good friend, and is moving things around when it comes to software engineering, when it comes to big tech. He works, and he also have helped a lot of professionals transitioning into tech, coming into tech, and all of that. And I think having him on the show today is going to be a great thing, because we are talking to professionals, helping them diversify, helping them bring their skills to life, helping them and empowering them, which is part of the things that we do here in Fired Up Movement. So I think it's my pleasure to have him here to come and speak to what we are doing here, and of course to bless us with his genius and his brilliance, with how he has been helping and how he has been helping professionals and mentorship that he has. So, Mr. Shegun, we are so glad you are here. Can you please share a little bit about you?
Yeah, like you said, thank you, Lola. Thank you. I think Fumila. Oh, okay, you're the Fumilola. I think my name is Victor. I live in Austin, Texas, and Lola and I have been a friend for I think over over a long time, possibly more than 15 years that we've known each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
Um, Currently, I'm a software engineer, also doing multiple things. Focused mostly on mentoring service. One of the things that we've been able to achieve this year is to help a lot of professionals to actually advance into some areas in tech, like software engineering, data engineering, and also DevOps engineering. And we've been able to achieve this through providing the right professional experience and showcasing people how to build projects that actually help them to, show that they have the actual experience without quote unquote having those experiences. So part of what we focused on mental. And of course, also I'm a family of two. I have two girls, so it's pretty much busy here, but we we are focused on delivering on this fired up. I'm happy to be part of this to inspire the next generations of people that are interested in getting fired up.
Absolutely. And so you know that the meaning of fired up here in our community is financial independence, retire early. We talk about
Correct.
early retirement. We talk about work optional. We talk about doing what you love to do while you are, and it doesn't feel like work because you're doing what brings fulfillment, what brings impact, what brings legacy. You are doing this to bring, give. You are doing
Mhm.
it, and then you are getting paid in that regard. So it doesn't feel like work because you are being fulfilled and it's bringing fulfillment. So that is what Fired Up is for people that are joining us and they don't really know much about what we talk here about Fired Up. You actually get fired up because of your finances, your personal finances, your business finances, right? You get fired up because you want to accelerate your financial independence quickly as soon as possible so that you can have more time to spend the time you have with your loved ones, right? So that is
Mhm.
what we do here. But Mr. Shagum, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about you. I want to know from your experience in big tech and in mentorship, mentoring professionals, what are the biggest career mistakes you see high performing professionals make that quietly delay their financial independence? Because people moving from roles to roles, people going from one company to another, they are high performance.
Correct.
They have built their experiences, right? What is that biggest career mistakes that you see them? People that are even in big tech, we talk
Mhm.
about what's it called? The Google, the likes of Microsoft, the likes of Netflix,
Mhm.
and all of that. What are these that hold them back, that quietly delay their financial independence, even though they earn more, right?
Correct.
I wanted to
Correct.
share.
Great question. And we see this a lot, right? I think the number one mistake is number one is waiting to be noticed. High performers often believe if they, if they jump, if they just keep doing excellent work, someone will tap on them on the shoulder for that promotions, that raise, and that opportunity. Sometimes that's not how it works. So while you're waiting, someone else is asking. So the second mistake here is not understanding that the salary is negotiated, not given, right? So
Mm,
I have seen professionals leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table because they accepted the first offer. Every time you don't negotiate, you're not just losing that money once, you are losing it compounded over your entire career itself. And I think third thing here is that, and this is the quiet killer, is lifestyle inflations, right? You go from say 120K to 200,000 salary, and somehow you are still living paycheck to paycheck. The income has tripled, but your savings rate stays flat. That's not a career problem, that's a discipline problem. And that's what we see a lot, where you have these financial inflations in terms of what you make, but you also inflate your lifestyle to kind of take off all of the gains that you've achieved as a result of earning more. The professionals who reach financial independence fastest, they treat every race like it doesn't exist. So they bank the difference, mostly focusing on banking the difference. They let their lifestyle lag behind their income by design. And so the goal is to focus more on the opportunity to make more. Doesn't necessarily mean inflating the lifestyle, but uh, possibly opportunity to inflate your investments, inflate your savings, and that's what that's where the financial independence will come from.
mm. Wow. We call it in our community, we call it lifestyle creep.
Correct. Correct.
Lifestyle creep, right? Because the more you
The
the
more,
more
the more
your
you earn.
lifestyle is, yeah, the more you earn, the higher you just improve your lifestyle. And before you know it, you go back to, and this is my own experience, I would say, moving from comments now to Microsoft and now to that big, you want to, if at that time I want to get a new car, and
Mhm.
before I know it, I come down to that paycheck to paycheck again because
Correct.
of
Correct.
lifestyle creep, right? So
Correct.
I would say that
The
is
fact the fact that you're making, let's say you're making 150K and you live in a comfortable house, comfortable
Mhm.
if you are now making 300,000, you don't
Mhm,
necessarily need to change your car or change your house or
mhm,
anything. It's just an
mhm,
opportunity to now have more money for
mhm,
investments, even though
mhm,
you could still improve the quality of your life, but
mhm,
don't necessarily doubling from changing car, changing everything, which is what we see where the wealth comes in, but we are kind of accelerating, our needs to meet up with the new income
mhm,
lifestyle, and
mhm.
and I think that's a killer for in irrespective of the until you're financially free, you shouldn't have to leave that, you know.
That was what I learned in a hard way. I would say
Okay.
it really pulled me back when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the achieving that financial independence and early retirement. We call it the
Okay.
FIRE movement. I couldn't because I constantly, and that was when I started looking into earning additional income, looking at diversifying my income. Like I cannot just live on just one. So that birthed this income diversification for me, or starting to establish another stream of income. But not everybody can quickly navigate that. Before you know it, they are there year after year, and just
Mm-hmm.
they continue to live that. So but I would say that you often say mentorship is not a nice to have, but a career accelerator. I know you
Mm-hmm.
talk about mentorship. I know you mentor a lot of professionals, but can you break down how the right mentorship actually shortens the time it takes for professionals to increase their income and then building wealth? How can having mentorship be a major player when it comes to wealth building?
That's a good question. Look, right, you need to be in the right community to help you see the perspectives of how, like Lola's community, what you're doing right now. It's one of the places that would help you to see the directions to go, which meaning you're offering mentoring in terms of how to grow finances. But to be direct with you, in my own early days of understanding what to do with money, I was doing everything the hard way, figuring things out through trial and error. So sometimes I'll jump on stock market, jump on real estate. I have no clarity of what should I do with this extra money that I'm having now, right? Because it's easy to want the money. Now you have the money, you don't know what to do with the
What to
money
do with
rather
it?
than just banking it. So making mistake will cost you, years, sometimes years of decisions. So what I did was to start looking at access, got access to people, reading the books, who already of people who have already walked the path. So that means I started buying a lot of books on Amazon, trying to understand different financial directions in real estate, in long-term investing in stock market, short-term investing in stock market, or even other opportunities of where you could keep your money safely, but at the same time, the wealth still has opportunity to grow. And that's what I started to understand the best way to manage money. And here's how what I think how mentorship accelerates wealth. One is to first compresses. You need to have it compress the timeline. What takes you 5 years to figure out alone, a good mentor can shorten that to maybe 18 months or even 12 months because now you have a more clear direction. They've
Mhm,
already made the mistakes. So that means the book you're reading, or some of the books that even Lola has written, you could learn a lot from their mistakes or how they made some financial mistakes. And now you don't have to make that mistake. All
mhm,
right. They know which door to knock on, which skills actually matters, and which opportunities are traps, right? It also, first, second thing is to expand your network, right? So you need
mm,
your mentors network becomes accessible to you. That introduction to a hiring manager, that recommendation for for a board seat or investors connections, and so on. Like I was in your event, we were connecting with a lot of people. That also can open a new door, those opportunity for you. Next thing is to also you need to raise your ceiling. So most people don't know what is possible because they've never seen it up to close. So
mhm,
when you're mentored by someone earning say $500,000, suddenly your mental calling isn't just 200K anymore, right? Now your capacity is expanding because you're seeing more. You start to think bigger because you are seeing bigger, right? Essentially.
mhm,
So mentorship isn't charity. It's a strategic decision that you need to make. The ROI on the right mentor relationship is infinite, right? So now because it changes not just what you earn, but what you believe you're capable of earning. And I think this is why whether be it career, be it wealth development, we all need some form of mentoring to understand where to. I've seen people who blow up $100,000 in the stock market. Just,
Wow.
they have this extra money, but they don't know what to do. So they start,
Okay.
thinking that, oh, if I buy a company, that just because you know a company name doesn't mean you should put your money in that company, or, or you buy real estate, but you don't really understand the nuances of dealing with tenants, or dealing with what if your tenant don't pay rent, how are you going to navigate that? Right. You need to have full understanding. That's why you need to seek the right mentorship to help you navigate these ecosystems, so you don't have to make thousands of dollars of mistakes.
Oh, wow. Yes. And I can say that you are the master when it comes to raising the ceiling, because I know that in our circle at that time, you're always like, helping all of us, like, okay, how much? And I think you can just talk a little bit about raising your ceiling when it comes to negotiation, because I see that as your own superpower.
Yeah.
You help a lot when it comes to negotiation. You help a lot when you let people, professionals, see their value. This is what I am bringing to the table. No, don't just allow this. Don't just take this. So that alone helps in terms of wealth building. So can you talk a little bit about negotiation and how to raise that ceiling, when it comes to wealth building? Just touch a little bit on it, but it's something that I know you do a lot.
Yeah. So it's your question around I think what was your question again? Can you repeat? I think I was just
negotiation, and raising the ceiling. When you are moving from one company or maybe from one role.
So exactly, that's a good point, right? Because the negotiation part of especially if you work in America or live in America, everything is hidden in sense that you need to seek those information. So, for example, let's say you're applying for a new job, and then the job role says 100K to 170K. It's intentionally made wide that way because they want to, so when you pass the interview, they could give you the lowest bar to start with. But because of desperations, what I've seen, some of my, people that I mentored, what I've seen, because they're so desperate for job, then they just take the first offer and just say, oh, I just want to accept it. I don't want to lose it. I'm like, don't be afraid. They are not going to take the job back from you. Just because they are asking you, you're negotiating doesn't mean necessarily companies are going to withdraw the offer from you. So first is to build confidence that you have the ability to pass the interview. If you have the ability to pass the interview, the company wants you already. They already want you. So now you asking for, more doesn't necessarily mean company will see you as, oh, this guy doesn't want a job. Right. So we need to build that trust in our ability, in our confidence, in our skill set, that when we're asking for more money, the companies it's totally fine. It's part of the process. So, for example, if you're seeing a role that is advertised from 100K to 150K, try to start from the 10K less than the highest. Let them start, say, oh, can I get this? Even sometimes people shoot above the highest range, or you ask for the recruiter that what's the range for this salary or these positions, and then they start to give you more context. But the most important thing here is to not be afraid to ask questions, right? Irrespective of your situation, whether you're out of a job, it doesn't necessarily mean we should live in fear of just accepting things as it is. So, and I think that's what, even in the past, I got shot in the leg myself when I was switching job, and I was in a bad job. Not a bad job, but I was in a company that wasn't really fulfilling me, and I wanted to leave at all costs. And I'm like, anything that I get right now, I'm going to leave, right? And then the company just threw me something, and I'm like tempted to just take it, just to leave this culture that I wasn't liking anymore.
You.
The lowball, they're going to lowball you, and then you accept the lowball, and then you get in, you start to see you're doing the same work, same deliverables, with somebody who is making almost 80K more, and you start asking questions.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
That's what those fear and the ability to you're not trusting that you're good enough to ask for more. So I think it takes about also asking questions. Go online. There are websites that are set up for just salary information about companies, like level of FY. You could see what the company is paying. You could see the range based on that level. And then you throw that back to them. If the recruiter is offering you something low, you ask them, based on what you're saying, this role pays this. They are okay with you questioning back and forth, because once you pass the interview, the chances that they want you is already, before they communicate an offer to you, it's very high. So having that confidence, I didn't know about this in my first move from visa to when I moved to a startup. The startup, when I got in, I see people making 100K more on the same level. And I didn't know. So I already moved in and I joined in, and now I'm working day and night, but somebody else also doing similar thing like me and is making way more. And I feel like, what's going on? So I think trusting the process, asking questions. I have some friends that, when we have an offer, we call each other and say, hey, what do you think this company, what should I ask, right? Don't be afraid to consult. And I've seen this, one of my students that I mentored this year was so surprised, just coming out from college in December. And, we trained and I did training and all of that, mentoring for 3 months between January to March. And then, the first offer was 140. And then he was so excited he got in. I said, oh, there's another interview we're waiting for. That should be like on 200K. He said, he doesn't believe they will pay that money. I said, don't worry, let's see. And then the second offer came in. I said, start pushing. The guy was utterly surprised.
Wow.
From college down, of course, we did a lot of touching to make the experience large and everything. And then it couldn't even believe himself. That was doable. And that's how much potentials that we can see if we push enough. If we're, once you pass the interview, the companies think you have the experience, and that's what that matters. Passing the interview means you have the experience, right? So whatever money you're asking, they don't care anymore. To them, the candidate passed the interview. So that's why I tell people, whatever it takes you to pass the interview, do it. It doesn't. It's the experience is to test. It's going to be tested through the interview. So it doesn't matter even if you don't have 10 years experience. If you apply for a job that says 10 years experience, your goal is to justify that you could defend 10 years experience, right? So, and I tell people just have that mindset. It's going to change the way you practice or be prepared for job, because now your focus is not just, you're thinking about 10 years experience rather than thinking about, I just want to, do this interview. But your mindset is changing because you're saying yourself that, how can I justify that I have 10 years experience without, quote unquote, you don't have 10 years experience.
Oh, wow. This is really interesting. In fact, we have to bring you back so that you're going to come and teach our audience about interview prep, values, and all of that. So, Mr. Toby, I see you come up. Please go ahead. But thank you so much, Victor, for that beautiful explanation.
Definitely.
You really open it up to how people see value in themselves and how to get prepared, position themselves for that role, and they get into it.
Correct.
Go ahead, Toby. You are muted.
Wonderful share so far. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm picking a whole lot from what we've been able to share so far. And I'm sure there are some people joining us. Please, if you are just joining us, this is Fired Up Movement, and we are learning on how we can become better. Talking of this amount of money, believing in yourself that you'll be able to achieve this, you're able to do this. And we are basically discussing about mentorship today, like what is the role of mentorship, what's the role of training in all of the things that you want to achieve. Now, if you're listening to us, please put your comment where you're joining us from in the comment. And please, if you could do the best, just share this with your connection, share it with the person you care about, and let people know that you are picking one or two things from us here. And we're going to have an amazing moment. So we are ready, even have an amazing moment already. So please, if you are joining us, wherever you're joining us from, please put it in the comment section. We'd like to recognize, we'd like to make mention of your name, know where you're joining us on. Thank you so much. Yes, back to you. My amazing discussion that you've been having. I would really, really love to hear, and I'm sure there are some people listening to us, and I'm sure they want to hear. That's why they stay through. I'm happy to be here too.
Good.
Absolutely. This is a powerful conversation. In Get Fired Up, my book, where is it? Where is my book? Okay, because I'm not in my normal office. Okay, this is the action book. But in my 2 books that I talk about, that we just released, that we just launched, we talk about compressing time through system.
Correct.
Compressing time through system, not hustling.
Exactly.
There are a lot of professionals that hustle and do all of that thing. But as an engineer, you always think in systems.
Correct.
You think in systems. If professionals treated their career like scalable systems, what key levers should they intentionally design to support financial independence and early retirement?
Yeah. So so early retirement is very strategic process for everybody. It's a little bit different from, I mean, so some people early retirement means I don't want to work anymore. I just want some income, passive income. Some people want to retire from corporate America to build a
Mhm.
business.
Yeah.
It's also still retirement in a way
Yeah.
because now you're focused on yourself. You're taking you're developing all the bulletproof of risk of how to make money to take care of a family, but without working for anybody. And that's still also like a retirement from corporate itself.
Mhm.
But that's why I say it's a more strategic different options for people. So, for example, one of the things that that I think for me personally that I'm doing for early retirement is aggressive investing into real estate and stock markets. So that means now this means might take 10 years plan for me to be there.
Mhm.
So that means
Yeah.
I might need to have so number of investment in real estate and so number of investments in stocks that can give me passive incomes to be able to not worry about working for anybody anymore. And so for example, maybe you need to invest way more every month of your paycheck
Mm.
that comes in.
Mm. Mhm.
If you want that type of when you have the paycheck, so every investment in real estate and stock market with understanding, real understanding, meaning I'm not just investing for the future of real estate. I'm investing that there's an income right now. When I'm buying a rental investment, I want an income from day one, right? So that means
Mhm.
after paying mortgages, paying all of this, I still want some passive income. So from my wife and I, we had a strategy on how we develop whether an investment should be done or not in real estate. So we have a table, we have a sheet, we actually have a platform that I developed for this. Then we throw in all the numbers,
Mm.
income, rent, proper management, risk, tenant or no tenant. We put in all the numbers. If it doesn't meet with expectations of say 15% ROI or whatever, we don't buy.
Mhm.
Because we're not investing just for the future of the property. We're investing that it could provide cash
Cash
flow
flow. Cash flow.
monetarily. And so that's one of the strategies that we're doing. Another strategy is that we're doing heavy investing in the stock market. So we take index funds that we trust, that we've done our research and said, okay, how much more money do we have right now that we don't need, right? And how can we safely invest that in the stock market in a more aggressive way? Aggressive way means that you're doing everyday contributions to the stock market. So depending on your
Mhm.
income, you could, be doing. I know somebody doing. Him and his wife, they've been doing since 2017, and they do over $10,000 a month. And then they take $10,000, they divide it by 20 days of trading window, and then they buy that amount every day. So it's automated. That's one of the things as you are in middle class or you have some financial, money flowing into you. You need to have automations in place. Automations would help you to not worry about it, right? So you just set the systems, buy me stock every day. And
Mm.
so now if you do that for 10 years, right? I always do. So I'm very familiar with stock market. I do a lot with the stock market. And I look at the 10 years data and I said, wow, you wouldn't
Mm.
believe where some of these indexes were 10 years ago. And then even Nvidia as a company or Apple or Google, all of these companies, if you look at 10 years back, so you could find big technology company or technology company that you trust that they are building massive innovations, like Tesla was building an electric car 10 years ago. If you invested just $10,000. So
Mhm.
that's another thing you could do, saying, okay, I believe in the future of this company. I'm going to take a little risk of $10,000.
Mhm.
If you and I have done that, say 10 years ago in Bitcoin, saying, okay, I have some money. I can let this money go, but I think Bitcoin will play a key role in the future
Mhm.
of monetary whatever in the future of money. Maybe I'll just sacrifice $5,000 or $10,000. $10,000 invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago, it's a lot of money today. So
Mhm.
you have some high risk investing, some low risk investing. Low risk here is index funds, ETFs. These are low risk because they are going to be trajectorily go up based on the economy of the company, and then find a company that you think is innovating enough, maybe one or two, and distribute funds into that. And so those are the strategies that I think would help to determine retirement as a target. Then the third one might be thinking about what can you build? What skill set do you have today? Or what can
Mhm.
you build as a business, right? So
Mm.
do you have interest in home health care or home care business? Or do you have
Mm.
interest in mentoring? Or do you have interest in training? Maybe you have skills set. Many of us have ability to teach or ability to do some services to people, right? Find a way to monetize those services, right, to people. And we'll be surprised when I started doing mentoring, I was charging $4,000. And I was surprised how many of my personal friends were interested.
Wow.
I couldn't believe my own friends
Wow.
were interested. That's people that I didn't, like their wives were interested, people were interested. And I raised the money so high intentionally because I knew I wanted to make sure only people who were really, really interested are coming. But people were still ready to be interested. So many of us are surprised. There's a guy who I was trying to take after whatever I was doing in mental help. The guy was also doing training and all of that. The guy made over $210,000 on Thanksgiving week alone, just doing a promo and saying, "Oh, I will give you access to all my training for that Thanksgiving week." Just that week, he made over $200,000.
Wow.
So there's a lot of opportunities in the ability that we already have. Many of us just need to see the ability that somebody else is willing to pay for that. And we need to find a way to monetize that. That monetization comes with research, understanding, talking to mentors, finding people who have been in that path and asking them questions. And how can you build that business out of what you love doing already? If you love talking, maybe social media is your thing. Maybe you need to start creating content and start inspiring people on TikTok or, by the way, there are people who live off social media income. It's also a good way of early, something that you retire. I tell people communication skills and public speaking is going to be the biggest values of these generations.
The new
Yeah,
goal.
exactly. In the age of AI, where
Mm-hmm.
AI is going to displace some jobs, the ability to communicate will never stop. It's going to still be demanded. And we're seeing it even in corporate. The people who move faster in the corporate ladders are people with the strongest communication skills, not actually people with the strongest technical skills. Right? It's the people with strongest communication skills who already knows their technicals. They move much faster because they have more visibilities. They have more, impact because they can talk, right? And so one of the early retirement plan might also be look at it in social media. Social media, people think it's hard. It's hard, but if you already have strong communication skills, maybe it's not that hard for you anymore. It's finding what you love talking about and just start ranting. Just start ranting on TikTok, and you'll be surprised that people are going to pay for you just explaining your day or talking about your experience in the airport or something. And people watch that, and the algorithm turns down to money. Well, yeah. So these are different strategies that we all have to look at which of these can I do with my job, with your current life, and help you to achieve early retirement or freedom. Sometimes I don't want to call it retirement, but it could be financial freedom, that you're no longer afraid of your job. The mindset of free. One of my friends who is a director in his company always say, no matter how much you make in corporate America, you are never technically free, because you're thinking, if this job goes away, I could be back to square one. And that thought, it's telling me freedom is the most important thing that we are all seeking for. We're seeking for freedom to never be able to saying, if the job goes away today, can you live the life you have today? The house you live in, the car you drive, the lifestyle that you've acquired. How can you live like that? And I feel that's what most of us should aspire for, the freedom that comes with not being afraid to lose a job.
Oh,
That's all
wow.
I'll say on that. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Are you making notes of all of those? Those are nuggets. And thank you so much for sharing. When we call it lever, that means something that you can play around with, something that you can explore, something that you can take right now and begin to look
Correct.
at how do I, get into that wealth through my skill, through my
Correct.
communication skill, through my income strategy,
Yeah.
getting into a new role, getting into another company, looking at your experience. You have visibility is part of it, mentorship is part of it. And I want you to quickly answer this question before we round up for the day. Mentor Hub focuses on closing the asset gap, right?
Correct.
You help people, you do 90 days mentorship, you do this
Intensive coaching. Yeah.
intense coaching and
Yeah. Correct.
so it helps with closing that gap. So, in your opinion, how much of the wealth gap we see, especially among the blacks, among the immigrants, among the blacks in diaspora, and all of that, among all of these professionals, is it really an asset or information problem? What do you think that is the gap, the real gap, when it comes to closing that wealth gap?
That's a good point. I think one of the things that I've seen, apart from, I think we're very immigrants are generally more ambitious, black in the community itself. But what I've seen is in general is one of the wet gap, whether it is social created or it's just way set up, as it's always been like living so if you look at average white people, right, there's a lot of wealth transfer, there's a lot of generational wealth that people meet themselves into, which automatically gives you a good starting point. And right now so the black community, theoretically, might not many don't have those opportunities of generational wealth, which is a factor in some way. Like if I had something that got me started, the chances of success is higher for me also. And but that's not, it's also not an excuse, right? And that's part of what we need to start thinking about. How do we give the next generation of black people the opportunity to start better, right? In terms of real estate, leaving something for them to start with. But I would also say what I've seen in tech, it's also education is also a very key factor there, right? So pursuing the right educations. Of course, black immigrants tends to do really good at this, where we pursue a lot of, we're very much determined to pursue educations to help us to be able to move to the next level. But in general, I feel there's still a lot of gaps. I've seen this a lot where some of my friends say, oh, I interviewed over 50 people in the last 1 month, and I didn't even meet one single black. Meaning, even on phone screen, right? You're not even saying one. So are they not applying, or what is happening? Why are you not saying, you're saying disproportionately more Indians, more white people taking this interview? You're really not saying. And so I think it's just that I don't know whether this is, there's some other part to it that you can't really see, but I feel this is where some of the gaps are there. And of course, there are a lot of personal things, right? So I've seen people that we went to college together who are like, oh, I don't want to move, right? So they don't ambitions to, to take risk, go to another city, relocations. You want to stay where you are. What if the opportunity doesn't? There's not much opportunity where you are, and so people need to be ready to explore and move to different locations. You have to take risks, especially if you're young, you have no family. You shouldn't be worried about moving to Denver or moving to the outcode of somewhere to help you get started. I think those are the big factors that I've seen that create these gaps where some people are willing to take more risks to to try new locations and relocate. And of course, investment in education, right? It's also a very key factor here. Like I was talking about how we were charging certain amount for mentoring, and I say us to see that people were paying thousands of dollars for boot camp in the past, right? People were paying $40,000, $30,000. But if you see $4,000 is too much for you to acquire those skills, right? And then a year after, you're still in one spot, right? You haven't been able to crack the ceiling, right? You've not been able to crack the interview because you don't have the right strategy. So always be willing to tell people, be willing to pay for the mentoring. So part of what we've shown people is don't apply for job for yourself. So we have some team that we work with in India who takes your profile and help you do the applications. They worry about that every day. So they wake up, they apply for 50 jobs. Now that gives you time to study. That gives you time to think about projects. Now that gives you a lot of, because now they focus on advertising your resume for you, which is a critical factor, because when you need a job, you need to have more reach for your resume, right? So freeing up that time for you, yes, you're going to, when you get a job, maybe you need to, pay them some thousands, maybe 2,000, 1,000. But if you think about that cost, you don't even have the job yet. So focus on getting the job first. So I tell people, don't worry so much about the little expenses it is going to take you to get the opportunities and get the career growth. If I need to pay Lola today for financial mentoring, I'm going to pay you because I know if I have the information, that reduces the amount of time that I'm going to spend watching YouTube, doing all of these research that leads nowhere. So, and I think the biggest factor here is mentoring, mentorship, seeking those and finding the right people to guide you into whether financial freedom or even career growth or financial, it's a very critical factor. In fact, myself, I always look at, there are some things, the business my wife is trying to work on. And I said, look, maybe you don't have knowledge on this. You need to find someone that has the knowledge and pay them so they can guide you. You're trying to do this business, but you don't know what to do. So you're going to waste a lot of time gambling, try and error, trying what you
Mm-hmm.
see on TikTok. Somebody is telling you on TikTok doesn't necessarily mean that's what you should do.
Mm.
But you could burn thousands of dollars experimenting with somebody else's idea that you don't find a mentor online and schedule a call with them, pay them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? When I pay you $100 for that consultation call, I don't look at the $100. I look at the value that I'm going to get as a result of that call and how much time that will save me from worrying about. And I
Guess
think
what?
all of this will close the gap that we
Mm-hmm.
see today. We're seeking the right mentorship. We're pursuing more educations, and we are also willing to move out of our comfort zone, and that's very extremely important part of it. You need to be
Mm.
ready to explore, to move out of your comfort zone,
Mm.
and this would be a big factor that will shape close the gap that we see between the race in the society that we live in.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. That's really good. That's really good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know you are taking notes. I know you are looking into what is that thing that I need to do immediately. And that's as we wrap up for today's conversation. If someone is watching this and they want to accelerate both their career and their journey to financial independence and early retirement, we call it FIRE. If they really want to accelerate both their career and the FIRE journey, in the next 12 months, what are the first 2 to 3 intentional steps or action they need to take or they should be taking starting this quarter, January, February, March? What is that thing? 2 to 3 action that they need to take right away.
I'll say for finance, it's first understand where you are income wise. What are you spending money on? First, there's not going to be financial freedom without first cutting of the waste that we deal with today in society. And that could be heavy credit card debts, living way beyond your means, not tracking your income and expenses. That's the first thing. The first thing to invest in the little you have right now. There's actually no little money. Whatever you have right now is to first look at what are the things that you're involved with financially that you don't need to be involved with right now. And that's even myself for the year, I'm actually doing an analysis of, okay, this service needs to go in January. I don't use it. I don't need this, right? Clean up your regular expenses first. So this helps you to now see where you are financially, right? And that could mean, do you want to look for a new job? Do you want to look for additional job? Do you want to look for more jobs? Or whatever strategy you want to use to make more money. Do you even need another job, or you just need to scale up with what you have right now, right? Sometimes it's that first thing I'll do financially. Career-wise is to look at where you are, skill set. In the age of AI, what would you do differently? How are you going to approach the market with AI displacing some jobs? What would it be? What would the next 2 years be career-wise, right? I'm also doing the analysis myself. What job would be bulletproof to AI? What skills? It doesn't have to mean another job with corporate job. It could be skills that is going to empower you to even leave corporate America and stay on your own. We need to do the analysis of where is the income going to come from aside the job that I have now. So income and career, they are well connected, right? Because without career, there's really no income, right? And then when you have the income, how do you properly manage that income so that it can double, right? Because if it doesn't double, you are not going to live. You keep working for the rest of your life, right? So how we double income is in fact, if I tell you that in the last 2 months, I've studied over 10 books on just stock market. Why? Because I keep understanding that the entire wealth in America is either in real estate or stock market. The richest people, when they say Elon Musk is worth 600 billion, they mean he has a stock worth that much. That means all his wealth is in the stock market. So how do we play part of that? How do we understand how to strategically involve in that? So it requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding, because you don't want to just gamble your money into this kind of space, right? Because you're competing with other very talented, market players who has been there for much longer. And so investing in the right knowledge to understand that now you've cleaned up all your finances. Now I want to invest this money or use this money to help me accelerate financial freedom or early retirement. Where is that money going to go to? We need to invest in knowledge and mentoring and understanding where is that money going to go next, right? Don't just
Mhm.
go into real estate just because people tell you. I have people who are burnt in real estate right now. They have a tenant who's not paying. They have a tenant who moved out. There's a house in the market. Like now you have mortgage to pay. You got
Yeah,
to pay the money.
leaking roof.
What are you telling me? I have my
Yeah,
tenant in Colorado, and every month is texting me, I'm sorry, the rent is
yeah,
going to be delayed this month. It's
yeah.
delaying from delay, it's going to
To
start missing
next in
payment.
2 months, 3 months. Yeah,
What are you
I
going to
know.
do?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? So that's why the knowledge, I was telling, like, oh, maybe it's not just, you need to understand the risk before you take those investments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and reading books, consulting, mentoring, mentorships, all of this will help you to not, you know, be a victim easily. Of course, every business has its risk, but when you
Mm-hmm.
understand the risk before going into the business, you're
Mm-hmm.
way more prepared to absorb those risks because you're
Mm.
aware that these risks are in place and you
Mm-hmm.
you have a strategy to mitigate those risks if you're going into that business. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what will be the 2, 3 key factors that
Mm-hmm.
everyone should look
Yes.
into the next financial transformation.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That's really powerful. You see, always identifying the gap, either in your finances, personal
Mhm.
finances, or in the career. Always identify the gap because that is where to start from. So thank you so much for sharing. And I know that so many people they're still going to come back to this and rewatch it. I myself am still going to go come back to it and listen to these gems so that I can, position myself as well for what is
Right.
coming. Just like you said, communication, getting good in public speaking,
Mhm.
using AI to better position myself as that thought leader in the industry. So thank you so much for sharing. And for people that are joining us, my name is Lala Wealth. I am the Wealth Empowerment Voice for Professionals, and I am helping you to retire early. So, if you're joining, thank you so much for joining us. And I'll put it back to the hand of our host, Mr. Tobiloba. Please close us out.
Wow, it was a very wonderful share from you, Olusegun. It was a great share. I really enjoyed every bit of the thing you were able to share with us today. Such an amazing time. We had some people that joined. I don't know why they are not speaking today. I don't know why they're not telling us where they're joining us from. But regardless of where you'll be able to join us from today, I'm sure you'll be able to pick one or two things from what Olusegun has been able to share with us. I don't know which platform are you on. Are you on LinkedIn? How do we find you on LinkedIn? How do we find you? Which social media platform can we be able to connect with you on? So at least when people need to reach out to you, they will know how to reach out to you. And also,
Yeah.
if okay, please go ahead. Tell us.
Yeah, I can share my LinkedIn and Instagram. I think I'm more active on Instagram. Yeah, but I can send these platforms. Anybody who wants to message me or ask about questions around mentoring, career development, how to navigate your resume to be ready for the market, just reach out to me. Even if you don't subscribe to my service, I have these strategies that I tell people just go try this out, and that can help you move a bit higher. People can reach out to me more maybe on. I'm not very active on LinkedIn, but I'm very active on Instagram.
All right, please kindly share the link with us in the comments. I personally would like to reach out to you. So you expect
Yeah.
my this thing. I like to pick one or two. And as Lola has shared, I'm definitely going to come back to this and learn one or two that you've been able to share. It was
All
such
right.
an amazing time to have you on the show, and we love to bring you one more time to the show when we get fully back into the new year. We need much of these things in order to keep going, to build our finances, and to get to the next level that we need to get to, right? And if you've not been able to get the Fire Up Moment, the book by Lady Lada that was launched last week virtually, you can be able to get it. The link is right in the comment section. It's a book that can enable you to design your life. At least that's what they've been able to share with us today. That when you go into mentorship, you go into training, you save yourself a lot of stress. I have a couple of books, a whole lot of books I'm reading, but I can't reach out to the authors and ask them personal questions. So that I feel like when you have the money, you hire the author, hire the people that are behind that brain. It actually fast track the journey. It makes your journey to be more faster and you'll be able to do much more better. So please make sure that you take your time and you learn all the things that you need to learn and make sure that you don't just give up on yourself. Don't go when you see this way is not working. That's what they're actually sharing with us today. If you know this way is not working, try to adopt another strategy. Learn from the experts, learn from the people who are already doing the best thing that you are supposed to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can leverage on what is already existing. And this is going to be the end of our show today. But before I call out, before I say, I don't know if you have any um, last tips you need to give to us, then we're going to call it a day.
All right, that's it for me. I think, yeah, we've all heard it. The most important thing is to act, actions, right? So from everything we've said about today, it wouldn't mean anything if you don't take notes and act. So if you need any consultations around mentoring, navigating tech, or navigating career in general, just reach out to me on Instagram. I'll be happy to help.
That's amazing. It's such an amazing time we'll be able to spend with you today, and it's good to see that you and Lady Lola were able to share amazing jam. This is going to be the end of our show for this Thursday. We are coming back big and perfect in the next year. It's going to be an amazing journey. I just feel like your life is going to be designed just through this event alone. There's so much you are going to be learning. There is so much that are going to be learning. And this is where we are going to hang the boots today. Do have an amazing Thursday and enjoy the rest of your week. And have an amazing Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. See you next year. Bye bye, everyone.